Hey, what is up? I'm Johnny Law, and today I'm feeling like a bit of a rebel. We're here today to talk to you about deeper character creation. And I'm not talking about the build, I'm not talking about the backstory, we'll get into that in another one. But what I'm talking about just is the inspiration, where the idea of your character stems from, and how the skeleton is formed for you to slap all that skin and muscle and sinew and all that good stuff onto it. So most people have the idea of modeling a character after someone famous, whether it be fictional or real, and going along with that way. It helps you build a voice, it helps you have an image in your head, helps you sometimes answer how they feel and whatnot instead of like rolling dice or stuff like that. We're just, being intuitive about it. And it's a good start, and it's great for one-shots, that's for sure. I've done it plenty of times, both with horrible and wonderful people. Andrew Tate comes first and foremost. That was such a bad game. I hated that game so much. I want to kill myself. Anywho, it's great. It's a great start. But if you were to instead take maybe 3 to possibly 5 different characters and use them as inspirations and take little bits and pieces and just kind of patchwork it together to create this skeleton of what you're going to become, I find that it gives you a lot more flexibility. It keeps you from being penned in going one direction, and it makes it so it's yours. I'm currently playing a character named Malv, who is in a campaign that is very fucking dark, really bloody, really gory, psychological trauma. Someone's already cried, and it made the rest of us cry while doing a monologue. It's amazing. It's the one game that we usually play monthly, but now we're starting to play it bi-monthly because it's just like everyone needs to know more. So I went, Malv is going to be pretty gritty. And when we started in session 0, one of the things that came up about his history was that he fell in love with someone and she was immediately taken away from him. So that was directly taken, in my mind, from Marv from Sin City. I'm familiar with the Mickey Rourke version. I never read the comic books. I hear they're pretty similar, though. But so I had that concept of Marv of like tough as nails, no nonsense, but found someone that touched his heart in a way and made him feel human for the first time, and that changed his life. But then she was ripped violently from him. Well, I guess it wasn't as violent in the movie, but tragically ripped from him. And so that's part of what I wanted Malv to have. It's like, even though he is this bastard, someone did find something in him and it touched him and changed him forever. So that's one facet that I started building, and the name was taken, Malv Marv. It kind of worked off of that. Another facet though is when I play a lot of brutes, I play a lot of dumb guys, and this guy, even though he's really strong, he's tough as nails, he actually has a decent intelligence modifier. We call it smart in the game, that the system I'm playing him in. He's a soldier, he's a grunt, but he aspires a little bit more than that. And so I started taking concepts from Charles Bukowski, knowing that how he was a scrappy little fighter, growing up. I mean, I don't agree with all of his philosophies. He definitely had a way with words, and he had a way of speaking that I found really interesting. And if you haven't listened to Charles Bukowski, the way he talked has a very long pause at the end. He takes his time, lets the words kind of drift around.
Armies running through streets of blood, waving wine bottles, bayoneting.
And so I wanted to add that to Malv. In fact, I actually started memorizing Bukowski poems, one in particular called The Genius of the Crowd, which would be what I'd use as a vocal training technique to try to find this voice and to practice the voice and get in mentality before the game. I'll have a whole nother video talking about that later. The thing that I needed something a little bit more of a twist. I didn't want to be Bukowski and Marv's body. So then I started to take other elements of other things that were completely different. And one of them is Mac's dad from Always Sunny in Philadelphia. And if you've seen Mac's dad, you'll remember him. He just has a way of staring and talking, and just doesn't break a stare, and he kind of just doesn't get mad, but he's going to kill you. I'm going to kill you. And just really has this intense vibe about him. And I love that. So I just want to take that little bit and sprinkle it into my Marv Bukowski mixture here. And then to start wrapping it up, I was trying to think of how he was going to relate to the rest of his crew. And the one character I really liked and I drew a lot from for this, and where his heart and his loyalty really is Amos from The Expanse.
Back in a line. Oh, Amos! No! Stop!
Amos, he's a psycho. Well, he's a sociopath. He doesn't feel the same emotions that other people feel. He has no problem gunning down someone in cold blood. They deserve it. But he's very loyal. Those that are on his side, he will give his life for them. It's kind of the concept of he's a psycho, but he's our psycho. And I really wanted that as well. So you have this tough as nails, gritty, chaotic aspect that Marv brings. And then you have from Amos this gritty, ready to beat someone's face in on a moment's notice if they were to harm your friends, but that's because they're harming your friends. You're not doing it just for sport, you're doing it because it's the right thing to do. And then adds a little bit of creepiness from Mac's dad, and then just a sprinkle of that, more than a sprinkle, a nice healthy dose of Bukowski in there. And all of a sudden I've got this character that it's so easy for me to jump into because I know these facets, but I still am not stuck on one track and trying to follow how those characters would go. Now, I did say 4 to 5 in the beginning, and that's 4, and I tend to strive for 5. That's just me. I like to, really dig in there. And I did have a 5th. It was the Max. I don't know if you ever saw this cartoon back in the day on Liquid Television, which was an old MTV late night animated series, or read the comic books. But the Max was a homeless man, and he lived in 2 different realities. And I was going to use him as a deep inspiration, but as the tone of the campaign came out, it seemed too comical. So it's still in the back of my head, and I still have an aspect where I think when he does eventually break down, because it's going to happen, he's going to have to break eventually. That's just the nature of the campaign. I think I might kind of lean more on that insanity for him. But we'll see. I'll get there. It's like I said, you don't have to lean on all these, and that's the whole point of this, is to create something that's open enough that you can still be inspired, and you're not just writing something from scratch necessarily, but you're also not locked into a certain character. You're not playing Mac's dad from Always Sunny in Philadelphia in your campaign. No, it's just a slight little part of him. That's just a facet. It's just a taste. It's a flavor. It's whatever you want to call it. And so yeah, that's what I got for you. Hell yeah, fuck yeah.